Hey guys, it's John. You're on the JRB Tree Climbing channel. If you've been following my channel for a while, you know that I like these hooks that you can get on the end of a bungee cord. They work great as gear hooks or even a bow hook. My recurve hangs on there quite nicely. And if you saw my earlier video on triple function lineman's belt, you know that I had one on there, and there's different ways to put it on with a cable tie and make sure you can move it back and forth, but I can't rotate it and put it the other way. And I've got a simple way to do that. I've been working on this for a little while, and I got a really nice nifty little knot to show you how to do that. So here I've got a couple of them. This one's tied with paracord. This one's tied with 3mm cord. But you can see I've got that snugged on the tree here, and I can rotate these exactly where I want them. And if I were to route this line the other way against the tree, well, they simply flip around. And now they're between the cord and the tree, but they work in the same way. And I can move them where I want them. And they're not going to go out of the way. They have a very loose grab, but enough grab to hold them in place. The knot that I used here to tie this is technically a variation of something we call the Cow Hitch Square Lashing. Here I've got two arrows that I've tied together in a square lash using the same knot. If we're building a trellis, for example, we would use square lashing, and we want this to stay roughly, you can see as I turn that arrow to the side, it stays at a 90-degree or perpendicular arrangement. The knot I tied is a variation on this, and the only real difference is that on the back side, these two small pieces of paracord going around this line, instead of them being parallel, they cross. Let me show you how to tie it. Okay, so let's get started. Here's the line I'll be tying it onto. Here's the hook I'll be using. And here is some 3mm cord. You can use paracord for this. This is just a little bit brighter and about the same diameter. I have about 2 feet of it here. And I've cut the ends and I've heated them with a lighter and swabbed them smooth as per my standard procedure for how you cut and seal cordage. I'm going to start by making a girth hitch, or you might think of this as a cow hitch. They're structurally the same. This fundamental creation is a cow hitch or girth hitch. I'm then going to turn it upside down and flip it over the line. Let's get that in your view. Okay? The hook goes in the center. It is straddled by that girth hitch. And it's in front of the line, not behind it. Now, in the back, these two lines that go on the left and the right side, I'm going to cross them so that the one that's here on the left crosses over and becomes the one on the right. And I'll take that line under and through the girth hitch. Same with this one. Looks like spaghetti right now, but all we have to do is take the slack out of this. And so I beg your pardon as I interrupt your field of view, but I simply tug on these lines individually and wiggle them and try to get all the slack out of there. Tug and tug and tug and tug and tug and tug. And we wind up with something that looks like this. I'm going to focus on the back side real quick. Go around to the back side. And if we zoom in, you can see that those lines have crossed. Right there, those lines have crossed. That's important because if those lines don't cross, it's much more difficult to adjust it up and down the cord. And we don't have to really worry about getting it too tight. On the front side, If you can see that configuration, that's my original cow hitch or girth hitch with these two lines going through. And I'll tell you what, it operates pretty well right in this position. If I try to move this, it's nice and stiff. You don't even have to finish it off, but I prefer to. And so by finish it off, what I mean is I'm going to put a stopper knot on either side. And my stopper knot is simply going to be a single overhand stopper. And I'll try to form it as close as possible. It's important, though, that we've got it nice and tight first. Okay, starting with the right, I'll form a single overhand knot. And as I draw slack out, I try to get it really close and tight. Great. And now I'll do the same thing on the left side. Create a single overhand. I'm zoomed in real tight, so I hope I'm staying in view for you guys. But we'll tie another one at a paracord. So that's it. And then I'm going to give these a really good pull. And I'm even going to engage the use of a pair of pliers for that. Give this a really good pull. Give this one a really good pull. Now, in the beginning, I encourage you to just leave it like this and give it a test drive and make sure you like it. But once you've gotten to the point where you're comfortable with it, you have a couple of options. One option, as I showed you in the beginning, here's one where I just cut these ends about an inch. And the other option is to cut them really short, in which case you wouldn't even be able to untie it and then flame those back. So let's do that. Here's the line. I'm going to cut them at about, I don't know, ½ inch or so from the end. Probably about 1 centimeter away from the end. And now, leveraging my knowledge of the way that these flame, when I apply the flame, I'm going to let that catch fire and I'm going to let that melt really close to that overhand knot. Because it'll create a big ball on the end. And that big ball will prevent it. It'll act like a stopper on the stopper. Let's do the same thing on this side while that one cools. Am I in view? I hope so. Careful not to burn yourself, but I'm not going to swab these ends. I'm going to let that big ball form and let that cool. Do you see how compact that is? And now when I place that on the tree, it's movable. And if I flip it around the other way, flip this line around the other way, you can see it can orient into place. All right, let's tie another one, this time with paracord. Okay, so this is about 2 feet of paracord. I just cut that. Let's start by flaming the ends. I've got a rag at the ready. It's nice and hot. Immediately swab these ends with a rag so that they are needle-like. I'll grab the other hook and get started. I'll create a girth hitch or cow hitch, however you know it, this way. And I'm going to orient it so that the ends are upward. Here's my hook. I'll place it on the line. These lines straddle it, go around, one on either side. But on the back side, they cross each other. So I'm taking the one here that was on the left side, it's going to the right side, and while it's still in my hand, through the cow hitch on the front. And on Other side, repeat the process. Kind of need 3 hands to do this, or to do it and film it at the same time, I should say. Slowly draw that in. Now sometimes it's a little finicky about getting tight. You can't just do it all in one setting. So I tug on one, tug on the other, wiggle it. Don't be in a rush about getting it. If when I inspect it here, I could still see a little slack in there. See, this crossing line has still got a little slack. And so I just slowly work that out. It's got a nice amount of internal friction for such a compact little knot. As long as I see slack in there, continue to get it out. I want to err on the side of making it tight. And it is pretty tight. Moving this is nicely difficult. Okay, great. Now, let's set a stopper knot on either side. I don't see a reason to use, because it'll function just like this, I don't see reason to use more than a single overhand. A double overhand would be a better stopper knot, but it's harder to create it and set it really close to that. It's just more difficult. Single overhand here. And by the way, paracord is fine for this. It's fine. You don't have to use utility cord. Paracord works great. It's just that these colors, these camouflage colors, might be a little harder to see. Misplaced my scissors. Let's cut this with a knife. Okay, that wasn't perfect, but good enough. And now I'm going to heat both of those. And strategically, this paracord will usually catch fire. I'm sure there's different brands and different materials. I'll let that ball up and get close and blow it out. This one's a little longer than I intended, so we'll see how big a ball this makes. It'll probably drip. Just don't let it drip on your hand. That's good. And I'll let that cool. As I do so, I'll point out that if you wanted to build this with a carabiner, that works as well. So let's let this one cool down, and I'll show you that here. I could have tied the exact same contraption and used a carabiner. And in fact, I can slide this out. Now there's some danger in that, right? We wouldn't want to accidentally slide it out. But since I can, let me do that and replace it with a small carabiner. So as I have it configured right now, the carabiner is capturing the line. And as I have it configured right now, the carabiner is outside the line, right? We get to decide how we tie it and in what fashion we use it. But because this is removable, there's a failure mode there, right? What if our hooks fell off? And so what we can do to prevent them from falling out is take a simple cable tie, and we can affix it on the bottom of this. So I'll use the bigger one, and I'm just going to take a cable tie and put it on the hook. Doesn't need to be right up against the knot, just near it. And that will serve as a stopper. Just want to give that a really good pull. Okay. And then cut that off. Okay, there you have it. Two brand new Cow Hitch Square Lashing variants. Now, when you tie this around a sleeping bag, some people call this knot a Woodland Zip-Tie. So whatever name you may be familiar with it, I wasn't familiar with it. I tied it, and then I went and found the name. So this is one of those times where I didn't need to make up a name for something that did already exist. It just has a slight variation. And as you can see, those two turned out identical to the ones that we started with at the beginning of the video. So this detail, I wanted you to have it in your back pocket because you're going to see some new contraptions from me in terms of gear management and bow hanging. And of course, if you've got a favorite bow hook, you can likely modify your bow hook to fit on this. It's just that I rarely use a compound anymore, and these utility hooks work both for gear and for my recurve. All right, guys, thank you very much.